Good morning. Welcome back to another edition of the pre-market PulseScan with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave price trigger reports that we put in your hand each and every trading day. What's good? What's good, people? What is good? It's another day. We wake up to more gains at PulseWaveTrading.com. The Pulse Waves have been on and crack-a-lacking, popping. Pulse Waves popping all over the place. I wake up this morning and the NASDAQ is doing what it do. I see gold doing what it do, silver doing what it do, and just loving life. You know, this is one of them days where you wake up, you roll out of bed, you open up your trading platform and you see that you're up big, and you just go ahead and just grab those gains. I didn't pop my way through it. I just grab the gains. That's what I do. That's just me. If I wake up in the morning and I see healthy profits across the board, I just start pulling trades left and right. Take profit, take profit, take profit, take profit, take profit. Remember, you will never go broke taking profits. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you know there is a risk of loss in trading and investing. I don't care if you're trading stocks, futures, forex, or cryptocurrencies, or baseball cards. There is risk of loss in trading and investing. So please consult your financial advisor before you take anything, and you should use risk capital only. Risk capital is defined by money that you can afford to lose, and it will not change your lifestyle. All right, so don't use your rent money to play these markets. This is not a casino. This is a chessboard attached to a checkerboard attached to a lottery ticket. How about that? All right, so let's take a look at what's happening with these overnight markets, ladies and gents. You know, there's so much going on in the world today. We're gonna have a little bit of fun this morning. We got some fun things to talk about. Not fun as in ha ha ha, but fun as in, the eyebrow going up like, huh? What you just say? Really? Yeah, one of those things. All right, so the Dow right now is up 32 points at 27,809. It's off about 100 points from the overnight high of 27,904. You got the NASDAQ 100 up 44 and three-quarter points at 11,331 and three-quarters, trading right near the highs of the session of 11,347. Even the S&P 500 is up 4 and three-quarter points at 3384 half, which is just a few points off the overnight high of 3388 and three-quarters. Russell My Hustle is up 1.2 points at 1585.1, and it's off of its overnight high of 1589.6. The mighty Bitcoin Futures Composite Index is off 160 bucks, but still well above the 12,000 mark, trading at 12,325 after pulling back from the overnight high of 12,555. Go Pulse Waves. Nat gas is on fire again this morning, up 9 cents, trading at $2.43, you guys. I told you it's marching back up to 3. But every time it hits 3, though, it seems like it just collapses. So this will be interesting to see if it can get to 3 and hold, if it can keep it going, or is it going to pull back and utterly collapse again? We'll see. Crude oil is off 50 cents a barrel at $42.67 per barrel. The strong bond, long bond is up 230 seconds, trading at 178.13. That's 178 and 13/30 seconds. Gold futures are up $16.60, trading at $2,015.60 per ounce after hitting a high this morning of $2,023.70 an ounce. Silver right now is trading up 68 cents after it's trading at $28.35, up 68 cents after hitting a overnight high of $28.60. Markets tend to like to pull back from those overnight highs or lows right when the market's about to open. U.S. dollar index is getting smoked again and threatening to go to, drum roll please, the 91 handle. That's right. The market is dangling above the 91 handle. It is down a whopping 50 pips. Traditionally, the US dollar, a 50 pip move in the US dollar used to be considered breaking news. But nowadays, we've seen the dollar move like, 2, 3, 4 points in a day. So right now, it's getting hurt. It's trading at 92.33. Remember, Trump's strong dollar policy needs to maintain a trade above 90 in order to remain in the strong dollar camp. Once it drops below 90, it's in a red alert status. Once it hits 88, you officially hit the weak dollar policy. And if it drops to 77, that's when you're going to hear all the talking heads talking about the US dollar collapse. Just remember that. Those are the pressure points. They have always been there. Don't ask me how and why. I have no idea. I just know what it is, All right. Taking a look at the forex, we got the euro dollar up 73 pips at 119.47. We got the pound sterling up a whopping 92 pips at 131.95. We got the Aussie on fire up 41 pips at 72.50. We got the Canadian dollar down 48 pips at 131.64. The euro yen is up 10 pips at 125.96. And the dollar yen is down 43 pips at 105.55. Kiwi is up 23 pips at 65.82. And soybeans are down 1 3/4 points at 913.5. And you got corn off a 1/2 point at 344.25. And wheat's down 3 points at 513.5. So that is a snapshot of these overnight markets. Now it's time to talk about what happened this morning while you were probably still in bed, probably hadn't had that cup of coffee yet. Had some economic data that came out. U.S. housing starts permits explode higher in July with builder sentiment at a record high. You're probably wondering to yourself, how in the world is that possible? How did that happen? You know? And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. I have no idea how they did that. I just know they did it. That's right. So those of you who are trading in the real estate space, what have you, whatever, you're probably living life a little bit this morning. What is, my memory serves me right, what is that home builders joint? What is it, MBH or MHB, something like that. I forget the ticker. But you guys who traded know what I'm talking about. So you may want to check that this morning. All right, so after screaming higher in May and June, after a 3-month collapse, housing starts rebound. It was expected to slow drastically in July, while building permits were expected to re-accelerate after a disappointing slowdown in June. However, the analysts could not have been more wrong as both starts and permits explode higher in July, up 22.6% versus a positive 5% expectation, and 18.8% versus a 5.4% expectation, respectively. Now, this is the biggest month-over-month rise in permits since June of 2008, and we know that that didn't end well. And the biggest month-over-month rise in starts since October of 2016. Multifamily permits surged from a 378,000 to 467,000. Single-family permits exploded from 840,000 to 983,000, just shy of the record 999,000 in February of 2020. This is the biggest month-over-month rise in multifamily permits since March of 2018, and the biggest jump in single-family permits since July 1980. Multifamily starts screamed higher from 349,000 to its record highest ever at 547,000, and single-family starts rose from 869,000 to 940,000. So the bottom line, the permit surge was much higher in single family units, which makes sense with rents tumbling, but the surge in starts was led by multi-family units. All right. So sentiment among buyers appears decoupled still from that of the builders. Source for this is Bloomberg. So there you have it with your housing starts. Those of you who are all up in that, there you go. So you're loving life this morning as well. But here's something on a much lighter note. Let's talk about the DNC infomercial with your girl, Michelle Obama. It has been labeled a snooze fest. Even your leftists are left puzzled. They don't get it. They don't know what just happened. It was like watching an infomercial, mocks the Epic Times' Roger Simon as he reflected on last night's first 2-hour segment of this week's virtual Democratic convention. Most of the quotes or variations on the theme of the aforementioned Orange Man bad. Only the most devoted, those already convinced, would want to watch this for 4 nights or even one until the end. It was weirdly disembodied, preaching to a choir without applause or even an amen. As the AP reports, the first chunk of the convention's primetime hour was dominated by a quarter of Republicans, part of Democrats' efforts to emphasize the breadth of their party's coalition and the implicity contrasted with the narrow one Trump has built. Now, the 4 prominent former Republican officials all slammed Trump and praised Biden. You didn't expect anything else, did you? Hoping to speak to what the Biden campaign believes is the big swath of the electorate that remains uncomfortable with the president. Now, Biden's ability to unite the country has been a centerpiece of his campaign. And on Monday night, Democrats tried to show that by cramming as wide an ideological spectrum as possible into a single hour. Now, this isn't about Republican or Democrat. It's about a person decent enough, stable enough, strong enough to get our economy back on track, says former Environmental Protection Agency Chief Christy Todd Whitman. Donald Trump isn't that person. Joe Biden is. Former Ohio Governor John Kasich said he didn't believe Biden would turn sharp left. Now, Bernie Sanders spoke for the second time in 4 years as runner-up, but this one felt different. This time, Sanders delivered an unqualified endorsement of Joe Biden and a harsh indictment of Trump. As its most basic, this election is about preserving our democracy, Sanders said, adding that authoritarianism has taken root in this country under Trump. As long as I am here, I will work with progressive, with moderates, and yes, with conservatives to preserve this nation, he said. He's talking out of his neck because we know that he is all for communism, tyranny, totalitarianism. Socialism equals communism equals totalitarianism. In another dig, Sanders said, Nero fiddled with Rome while it burned. Trump. He added a litany of policy examples of how Joe will move us forward to address the fundamental economic inequalities that Sanders has rallied against for decades. I don't know how in the world you believe that Biden will be able to do any of that, especially if he can't remember his own name. And you want to entrust this individual with nuclear launch codes. I can just see it now. He gets up one morning after having a cup of coffee, stumbles around and says, I wonder what this red button does. Boom. You know how that goes. If you watch Bugs Bunny growing up, you know what I'm talking about. Remember that one episode where the house was like, this house shot all the way up into the sky on this metallic pole. And he was like, oh, I wonder what this red button does. Every time he pushed a button, something weird would happen. And the last button he pushed made the house go up to the sky. And he was like, I wonder what this button would do. He was like, no, not the red button. You don't ever want to push the red button. And you know how that story ended. So I thought that that was very appropriate getting here because, again, you want to give this man access to the red button. He may forget and thought, hey, that's the telephone, or maybe that's the button to turn the TV on. We don't know what he's going to think, especially if he can't remember his own name or his wife's name or his daughter's name or anyone else's name or what day of the week it is or who's the current president, what he ate for dinner last night, all that good stuff. Now, as runner-up, Sanders got his own time slot Monday night, okay? And he followed a video montage of more than a dozen other Democratic primary contenders introduced by Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar. They all offered praise of Biden. Would you expect anything else? And finally, there was Michelle Obama's speech, which, as Summit News' Steve Watson details, was mocked by President Trump, who noted that it was pre-taped and extremely boring. Quote, "These are all taped speeches. Michelle Obama, her speech was taped," Trump said, during a campaign speech at the Minnesota St. Paul airport. "You want to go to a snooze?" said Trump, adding, "You know, when you hear that a speech is taped, it's like there's nothing very exciting about it, right?" The president also noted that taping a speech isn't very impressive, stating, "I'll tape my speech next week. I'll make sure it's perfecto. Every word will be perfect." Trump also continued to mock Fox News for covering the DNC. "Fox will broadcast them more than they broadcast us," he said, adding, "You know that." During her speech, Michelle said Trump was in over his head, urging that Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. Quote, "He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us," end quote. The first night of the DNC was widely slammed by those who managed to get through watching it. Former Democrat presidential candidate Maureen Williamson compared watching the speeches to binge watching a Marriott commercial. Wow. Wow. That is harsh. She says, "No, I'm sorry, but they did not address racism. They showed a lot of beautiful pictures of POC and made references to BLM, but there was not one mention of an actual policy to help end systemic racism. It's like binge watching a Marriott commercial. Ouch." Wow. Then another person tweeted and said, "Truly would love to hear about policy. Did I miss it?" And then Williamson responded, "You didn't miss anything. Beautiful pictures of POC in reference to BLM, but no actual policy on how to end systemic racism, touching homage to COVID victims and responders, but no actual policy on providing universal health care. No policy, period, except for Bernie." Wow. Another person said, "The DNC feels far like one long ad on YouTube you usually skip." Another one says, "I was just thinking this high energy DNC needed a smooth jazz break." Wow. Another one says, "This convention so far makes me think the Democrats are the party ready to lead America into the 1980s. Wow. 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 Another one said, "Someone please talk me off the ledge. I want to win in the first 22 minutes of the DNC. I'm scared. Can someone tell me how great this is or something?" And then finally, "Holy cow. I'm dying watching this DNC. Message is good, but wow, just unwatchable." However, as painful to watch as it may have been, we don't expect the GOP convention to be much better. Virtual is virtual, and as most online students can tell you, it's a bore and a chore and doesn't add up to much. Well, I got to tell you, here's the thing. If you want to pre-record stuff, you know what that is? You're making a YouTube video. You're not live. You're just making a YouTube video that you're uploading to a server. That's really what that amounts to as far as what they did, what they tried to pull off. All right. They didn't do it live. They could at least live stream the thing, but they did not live stream. Everything's pre-recorded. So that like they said, so it can be perfect. So we don't make any mistakes. So we don't say the wrong thing. Okay. That is not Kyle, you are bad this morning. Kyle says even talking about the article is boring. Let's see some Bitcoin charts. That is hilarious. Now you know that is a problem. That is a problem. Now, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, I know y'all want to talk about the Bitcoin charts. I knew that. You knew it. You knew I was about that life when you first met me, man. You knew we were going to talk about Bitcoin. Now, last night, I was unable to do an end-of-day report. So I know you guys are like, why didn't he do an end-of-day report? What's wrong? Did we do something wrong? No, you didn't do anything wrong. I just been in the lab, man. I got the reports out a little later than I would have liked. So I had to, by the time I was done, it was not even worth doing anymore. It's too late. Tonight will be a different story, Lord willing. All right, so I'm going to hook you up. All right, I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to let you look at a little sign. So here we go. It goes a little something like this. I'm going to boop, bam, and then we're going to go bam, and then we're going to come over here. All right, there's your opening bell for those of you that need to take profit or do something with your stops. All right, here's the mighty Bitcoin chart. Okay. So as you can see here, we're getting mad production off of the last rally alert, mad upside production. This is the point in time that you're going to want to start popping your way through it if you are along with the Bitcoin, all right? You want to start popping it because this is the place where you could get a pullback, all right? And you don't want to lose any momentum on your gains. This is your second opportunity from the initial rally space from back here. All right, you got the initial rally alert back here. All right, when this thing was forming a basing pattern, you got two. You got this rally alert here, and then you got this one here. And then you got your second chance right here. So you've had three chances to partake in this enormous rally in Bitcoin. All right. If you are a subscriber, then you have no excuse to have not caught all of this. How can you have not caught? This thing has rallied from 9,000 to 12,000. How do you not catch that? You got the PulseWaves. How do you not catch that? Come on, man. Do we go higher? Yeah. If you remember my analysis, someone reminded me in the trade room, say, remember your December analysis? When you talked about what was going to happen in Bitcoin, and it did exactly what you said. Remember I said the base will be around the 9,000, 10,000 mark? Didn't I say that? Didn't I say that back in December? Did I not say that back when the market was way back here? When the market was sub 6,000, remember that? And I told you what was going to happen, and it happened. All right? The algos got you in this thing. And you could have really cashed out in this market. Matter of fact, if you long Bitcoin right now, just do yourself a favor and just go ahead and cash out. Just go ahead and cash out, man. Just take the money. Take the money and run. Don't be greedy. You will never go broke taking profits. All right. So, yeah, I think it's going to run. I think 13,000 is the next milestone. All right. We have several upside milestones, and 13,000 is the next stop. Depending on how we move where we are right now, we could see a consolidation around the 12,000 mark. All right. So the next temporary consolidation should be around the 12,000 mark before you base out and get back up to like 13, 14, and 15. All right. So this is where you are. Now, of course, things can change. Things are subject to change based on, market conditions. Here's your weekly chart. All right. Here's your first rally alert on the PulseWaves. You got several more along the way that you could have taken advantage of. If you did not, again, where were you when this thing was down here? And come on, man. Really? That's what these PulseWaves are here for, to help you make that money. All right, but you got to want to make the money. I can't place the trades for you people. All right, so what's our next one we're going to look at right quickie? All right, so that's your Bitcoin. Now take a look at the gold real quick. All right, so as you can see here, we got this initial rally alert from the pullback correction that we got. We got a nice correction. All right, this wasn't a pullback, this was a correction. And then gold proceeded to try to rally up again. All right, now it's getting a little lofty, it's getting a little long in the tooth, hitting a little resistance. We'll see if it can maintain the overnight cash flow. If it can't, and people start piling in, taking profit, then that is going to cause gold to correct down further. I'll be honest with you. On the next crash alert, I don't know if that'll be today, tomorrow, whenever, but the next crash alert, we'll definitely see it drop below the trend line support. The first correction on the crash alert that you got back here warned you that you were going to go ahead and test that trend line support. That's exactly what we did. Now the market is, bouncing up from that. So as of right now, the trade is still to the long side, but it's really not giving you too much continuation. All right, it's not giving you too much continuation at this point, and we're hoping for a continuation because you're still under a corrective status right now. Technically speaking, even though I just booked some profits from this rally alert here, I just booked some profits. I don't know if we're going to have another day leg up. So right now, I'm just playing it by ear. Where if I see gains, I'm just taking gains off the table. It's just what you do. Now, I did not participate in the correction. I was unable to trade this. I had too much going on with family, and I could not partake in this. So I missed this, but I caught this little snippet right here. So I'm happy with that. And then I caught this up here too. So I'm good. That's why I like the markets, because if you miss something, the markets aren't going anywhere. They're just going to come right back. All right, so there you go with that one. Let's see. So silver now is the next one. Now silver has been way more volatile than even the gold. Now the gold's first pullback, though, that correction was no joke at all, nothing to play with. But silver has really been hurting people right now. So silver also corrected along with gold, but it didn't correct as steep. It didn't touch, or to the trend line support. It quickly reversed itself, right? Then gave you a crash alert with no production. So you got upside production from this rally alert from the bottom support, and then coming into this morning, there was another rally alert issue. This is what you got coming into this morning. So if you woke up to the profits, then it's a good idea for you too to start either popping your way through it or just do what I did and just take the money, because there is no guarantee of a continuation for tomorrow. Could there be one? Absolutely. But there's no continuation. You run risk if you miss the initial rally alerts when the market is in a full-blown correction like we are now. Gold and silver, I know you don't want to hear it, but we're in a full-blown correction. I think silver may come down and test this trend line support before it's all over with. Maybe. We'll see. I could be wrong, but I take it on a day-by-day basis. Just look at your momentum. Your momentum is, showing weakness. It's not showing strength. I like to see my momentum really giving me that upward arc like we did back here. Even when you had those little intraday pullbacks, your momentum was still where it needed to be, which helped this propel this market from this rally alert here. But now, when you get this, back and forth, up down, then that starts to let you know that there could be some problems when the market can't get back up. Like here, we're starting to flatline on the momentum, so it's letting me know that the upside could be very limited. We may not get back up to that $30 mark. So for me, if I see decent gain, I'm going to just go ahead and take it. Like back here, when you were building this long base, look how long it took to build this base. And look, the whole time it was building this base, your momentum was all but flatlined. Okay, so when you see the flat line come like this on this silver, you gotta really think about, you know, what you're gonna do with your life. Rethink your priorities. What's really good. What do you really want to do? So just wanted to throw that out there. It's good to think about these things, before you get involved. All right, so now let's look at the Australian dollar. Okay, all right. So your Australian dollar right now is actually set up to go to the next target of about 73.50. I'll give it 73.50. All right, for right now. Um, Provided the trend line support holds right now, this one is on pace to march higher. Now the momentum here, you kind of leveled off a bit, but it's not falling. The price isn't falling. So I thinketh that you have some room to run on this one. I think it can definitely do it as long as the supports hold. That's the key. The supports need to hold, and then if the market is up nice today, I think that's enough to get the Australian dollar to where it needs to be. I think 73.50 plus could be it, because you have this rally here has been pretty decent. The pullbacks have been healthy and they get bid right back up. That's the sign of a powerful market. When on a pullback, it doesn't destroy your trend. We never broke trend when it did that. As far as momentum, I'm talking about the weekly trend momentum. We did good. And that's what you want to see. All right. That's what you want to see. See the first pullback here, weekly trend momentum bullish. The next one here, we did have a bearish weekly trend momentum, but we had no conviction. And then the market did what it did and took off again. And then here we had another little one right here where you had no conviction whatsoever. Then here we go. So right now, I think the market is on tap on the Australian dollar to move higher. What I would say to you, if you are long the Aussie, you should be popping your way on it. I would not just rely and hope and pray. I would start popping my way through it. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons for that is that your momentum hasn't been all that powerful like it was back here when we took off. When you start flatlining, it's time to start thinking about taking money off the table if you have profits to do so. All right. So just FYI on a couple of these charts, I figured I owed y'all a solid for last night. So I hit you up with the Bitcoin, the gold, and the silver, and then I threw in the Aussie for you. All right. So there you go. All right. That's just something to think about as we are moving ahead. Another thing I wanted to show you, let me go ahead and show you this one too while we're at it. Yeah, I mean, when you have things, like I say, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That's why my whole motto has always been see profit, take profit. Now, see here, the NASDAQ, you want to bet against it so bad, but the run has been so powerful. All the pullbacks are immediately bid. Immediately. All of the pullbacks are bid the heck up. The market just won't quit. Every pullback is a buying opportunity. Every pullback has been a buying opportunity. Rally alert, rally alert, rally alert, rally alert, rally alert, and then rally alert. Now, I will say, so far, the production has been okay. We're starting to slow down up at these levels. That's why people say, oh, it looks like a double top or a triple top or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I can't really say that until I see the market break support. It would need to break the trend line support for me to say, okay, we have straight up topped out. But we have not. This NASDAQ keeps running. That's why I went ahead and I saw a profit and I took profit. Why not? Hey, good. Hey, no problem, Kyle. I like to. That's what I'm talking about. See now, To the rest of the world, to the uninitiated, to the un-pulse waivers, to the non-pulse waivers, getting stopped out on a position is a bad thing. But here at PulseWave Trading, getting stopped out of a position is a great thing because that means you're getting stopped out with profit. As my man Kyle just said in the live trading room, he just got stopped out with profit, so he's good. There you go. You will never go broke taking profits, ladies and gentlemen. You need to understand that, learn that, let it sink in. You will never go broke taking profits, never go broke taking profits. Taking profits is not a bad thing like Wall Street has programmed you to think. They tell you that taking profits is bad. You should never take profits, right? And they say, let your profits run, but people don't understand what that really means. They don't understand what that really means. I'll tell you what it means. So you start off with 3 or 4 markets. You get filled in all of them. 2 of them are just trending, giving you all types of upside production. The third one is actually not giving you any production. It filled you, then it backed out, and now it's actually generating, some small losses. Every day it seems like it's dropping further. Letting your profits run means you cut that loser right now because it's eating into your profits. Cut that loser, let it go, and let those other 2 continue to perform, and then you pop your way through it. That's what letting your profits run and cutting your losses means. Now, for me, I take it a step further. I see profit. I take profit. If it's decent, not just some little microscopic profit, but if it's a real, if I wake up in the morning and I'm really in profit, I'm out. I take my money. Want to know why? Because the report will come out at the close of the day. Another report's coming out. So I like that. If it's going to run more, then I'll get back in. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. I like to take profits along the way. So using this NASDAQ chart right here as a backdrop, you get long, you take profit. You get long again, you can take some profit. Just wait a couple of weeks. Be patient. Here you go. You got one here. You got one here. Take some profit. Here's another one. Take profit. Here's another one. Oh, go ahead and take profit. Here is another one here. Boom, take profit. Get back in. Boom, take profit. Here's another one, and I just took profit. See what I'm saying? Even with a long only strategy, boom, there you are. You just keep getting back in. Yep. If it drops back, hey, why not? You got it, Kyle. You got the right attitude, my man. So that's how you do it. You take profit along the way. All right. That's how you do it. Always take money off the table. And remember, when you're trading, you're always going to leave money on the table every day. We're not trying to get in at the absolute bottom or get out at the absolute top. That is almost impossible to do. We just want to trade and make money. We may not catch the beginning of a move or the end of a move if you're shorting something. That's okay. But you know what? I'm going to walk away with monthly bars at the end of the day. When I look at my track record, when I look at my account statement, and I compare it to the weekly and monthly bars, I'm walking away with weekly and monthly bars. That's what I designed the system to do. In case you didn't know, the system was designed to capture the entire daily bar, or as much of it as possible, and also the entire weekly bar as much as possible, and the entire monthly bar as much as possible. It is a trend following system. That's what I designed it to do. Even if it's a little teeny intraday trend, I want to capture that entire trend. That's how we do it. But I do it with taking profits along the way, getting in and out. It's just how you do it. All right. So now that we're off of this, let's go and take another look at these markets while we are chatting away here and see what's happening. Last time I looked, it looked like it was pulling back. Let's see here. Am I right? Are we pulling back? Is the market saying psych? All right. Yeah. The Dow is flirting to go negative right now. The Russell My Hustle is now negative. It is now negative. Gold is still near the highs of the session, and silver is near the highs of the session too. All right. So I got out into profit near the highs of the session, so I'm good. I don't have any regrets with that. And you shouldn't either if you're a profit taker. You should never feel bad about taking profits because that's what you're in the game to do, right? Get those gains. All right, let's move on to our next thing here. So your boy, who has been orchestrating the collapse of the United States and doing a very good job at it, I may add, is now out in the news, and he is just your boy. Get your boy. In a lengthy transcript of an interview with Italy's La Repubblica, billionaire hedge fund manager, philanthropist, and some might argue puppet master to a new world order, expounded at length on Europe's demise, financial market bubbles, and the focus of this note, Europe's imminent demise unless they follow his grand plan. Who am I talking about? None other than your boy, George Soros. The messed up part is it's like he's finishing the race on a negative thing. Now, if he would have just stuck to trading and just, if you want to be a philanthropist and give to charitable organizations, that's cool. But that's not what he's doing. He's funding terrorist organizations like Black Lives Matter and Antifa, which I have covered here on the program at length. If you missed that, you can go to our YouTube page and just look for the one that talks about Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and you'll find it. I did a full primer on that. So instead of him just sticking to the trading and doing what he do with that, no, he has to become Darth Maul. He has to become Lord Vader. He has to become the Dark Lord and see to it that things are all jacked up. Now, that's cheating, Mr. Soros, just like you did with the British pound back in the day when you made $1 billion on that trade. You did some slick stuff, Now, don't get it twisted, all right? Don't get it twisted. Your boy, yes, he's a globalist. Yes, he's, up there with Gates and them and being a puppet master and all of that. Don't get that part twisted. But the other part is this disappointing, and I'm speaking from a trader's perspective. Dude is the real deal in the market. The dude can trade. That's why he's running the money he's been running. He didn't start off that way. Him and Jim Rogers started off together. Even though Jim is all humble, telling you he's a terrible market timer and can't pick and all this other stuff, he's real humble. Don't get it twisted. Jim Rogers and George Soros will trade circles around most dudes out here in the game today. They come from a real old school, all right? And these dudes can actually trade. If you have not read George Soros' book, The Alchemy of Finance, then you have no idea what I'm talking about, all right? It is a very, very difficult read to someone who is not a professional trader in the markets. But I would say it's recommended reading for those that are. It's recommended reading. You got to read it. That's up there with Reminiscence of a Stock Operator. To understand how the game really works from the inside out, you need to read both of those books. And that's the part that's disappointing. He should be talked about and going down in history as one of the world's greatest traders of all time, him and Jim Rogers. But instead, your man's going down in history as being the Dark Lord. And that's not cool. That's really a waste of talent, in my opinion. He is, fallen from grace. He uses cheat codes and save wizards, on his PlayStation now. And he doesn't have to do that, which is I'm perplexed. You got a dude who doesn't have to cheat and doesn't have to do what he's doing to make money in the market because the man can trade. Those are facts. Some of you younger people have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you get his book, The Alchemy of Finance, you see what I'm talking about. So I can't take away from that. Even though he's decided to become the devil, he You can't take away the man's talent in these markets. So it's just sad that he's gotten to this. He's ending the race terribly. So he says that we are in crisis, the worst crisis in his lifetime since the Second World War. He would describe it as a revolutionary moment when the range of possibilities is much greater than in normal times. And what is inconceivable in normal times becomes not only possible, but actually happens. People are disoriented and scared, and they do things that are bad for them and for the world. Now, if you asked him, he would say, I'm not doing anything. Those people are doing that stuff on their own. Though they're doing things that they want to do. I'm just funding them. That kind of thing. It's the flip side of I'm just following orders. You know what I'm saying? Now here's how this kind of like interview went. So they asked him, they said, so how do you see the situation in Europe and the United States? And he says, well, I think Europe is very vulnerable, much more than the United States. The United States is one of the longest lasting democracies in history. That is not true. I don't know why are you lying? The average nation is about 200 years. The only exception would be the longest lasting one, which was Rome. All right. And it's set to rise again here in these final days. Not the US. The US is only 200 plus years old. Most empires start to collapse between the 200th year and the 250th year. We're only like a decade away from that, per se. So I don't know what he's talking about on that one. I have to see where he's going with that one. But he says he's confident that Trump will turn out to be a transitory phenomenon, hopefully ending in November. But he remains very dangerous. He's fighting for his life, and he will do anything to stay in power because he has violated the Constitution in many different ways. And if he loses the presidency, he will be held accountable. All right. Again, New World Order talk. That's what that is. That's New World Order speak. But then it says, but the European Union is much more vulnerable because it is incomplete union, and it has many enemies both inside and out. So then the interviewer says, well, who are these enemies? And he says, there are many leaders and movements that are opposed to the values upon which the European Union was founded. In two countries, they have actually captured the government. Viktor Orban in Hungary and Jaroslaw in Poland. It so happens that Poland and Hungary are the largest recipients of the structural fund distributed by the EU. But actually, his biggest concern is Italy. He says a very popular anti-European leader, Matteo, was gaining ground until he overestimated his success and broke up the government. That was a fatal mistake. His popularity is now declining, but he has actually been replaced by Meloni, who is even more of an extremist. The current government coalition is extremely weak. And I think what they should have asked him was, what part did you have to play in that, sir? Since we know you have a reputation of helping to topple governments, what did you do, Mr. Soros? What was your involvement? And I have to tell you guys, it's funny where you got the Dark Lord, controlling everything from a distance. And then after he does all this dirt, then he wants to basically, talk wild to you about it. Like, yeah, so what? I did all of this. I did it all. Yeah, I'm behind it. So what? So what? Sue me. That's kind of the attitude he got. But this kind of dude is the kind of dude to be like, I didn't do nothing. I don't have nothing to do with that. I don't have nothing to do with that. So I think it's very, telling. I think it's really messed up too that he would do that. So, yeah, of course he's gonna come out and talk about all the dirt that he's done and how his plans have been working. But you may be asking yourself, so why did we wake up this morning with the markets behaving the way they did? Well, that housing starts really did give the markets a shot in the arm. But in addition to that, we have Walmart earnings, which were a smash. They smashed expectations. All right. And then the dollar hit a 2-year low on the back of that. So that's another issue that came out this morning that helped to propel these markets. But there's something we need to look under the hood with. The world's largest gold ETF continues to source more and more gold from the Bank of England. One of the largest trends in the gold market this year, apart from the rapid rise in the gold price, has been the large investor inflows into gold-backed exchange-traded funds, the ETFs, and the corresponding swelling of gold holdings in these ETFs. As highlighted by the World Gold Council, the sponsor of the Mammoth Spider Gold Trust, ticker GLD, through its fully owned subsidiary, World Gold Trust Services, gold-backed ETFs had their 8th consecutive monthly inflow during July. In July, gold ETFs recorded their 8th consecutive month of positive flows, adding 166 tones, equivalent to $9.7 billion. Once again, this brought global holdings to a new all-time high, and that's why you're seeing gold breaking 2,000 again. Now, none of these, excuse me, and none more so than the Spider Gold Trust, the world's largest gold ETF. All right, so GLD is the world's largest gold ETF, which uses HSBC Bank of London as a custodian for its gold bars. Now, between January and July inclusive, GLD added a net 348 tons of gold, most of which was since late March. In fact, from March the 20th to the end of July, GLD's gold holdings are claimed to have increased by a net 333 tons of gold bars, rising from 908 tones to 1,241 tones. Wow. Snatching up that gold. That should be telling people something. And where have gold ETF sourced all of these extra gold bars from in such a short space of time? Well, if you're HSBC, the Spider Gold Trust custodian in London, the answer is from anywhere you can, including gold bars at the Bank of England, who has now become the lender of last resort. How do we know this? Because in early May, in the first quarter of 2020 filing to the SEC, the Spider Gold Trust GLD ticker revealed that starting on April the 15th, it began holding gold bars stored at GLD sub-custodian Bank of England, and that by the 27th of April, there were 45.91 tons of GLD gold bars stored in the Bank of England's vaults, constituting 4.4% of all the gold the Spider Gold Trust held at that time. Isn't that interesting? Now, this Q1 2020 filing was unusual in that, according to the GLD findings, except for one occasion in the first quarter of 2016, the Spider Gold Trust never normally needed to resort to source and store gold outside of HSBC London Vault. So why did they need to do this in April? Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Fast forward to August the 10th, when the Spider Gold Trust published its second quarter 2020 filing to the SEC, and this latest 10Q reveals that not only did the GLD continue to hold gold bars at the Bank of England during Q2, but the GLD overall gold holdings in the Bank of England vaults had risen to 70 tons of gold by the 21st of May. That's a net additional 24 tons of gold bars the GLD acquired in the Bank of England vaults between the 27th and the 27th of April and the 21st of May in less than 4 weeks. Now, this 70 tons of gold represented 6.3% of GLD's gold as of the 21st of May. All right, now to quote from the Q2 2020 GLD quarterly filing on page 8, paragraph 2.3, under the custody of gold. Gold is held by the custodian on behalf of the trust. 100% of this is allocated gold in the form of good delivery gold bars, which includes gold held with a custodian Bank of England. The greatest amount of gold held by Bank of England during the quarter ended June the 30th, 2020, was approximately 2,251,607 ounces, which equals 70 tons, or 6.3% of the trust's gold on May 21st of 2020. Now, at June the 30th of 2020, Bank of England held approximately 1,283,665 ounces, or 40 tons, of 3.4% of the trust gold in an allocated account. No gold was held by a sub-custodian during the year ended September 30th of 2019, or the 6-month ended on March the 31st of 2020. That's a heck of a lot of gold. Not only that, but between the two dates in question, April 27th and May 21st, during when GLD's total gold holdings rose by 64 tons from 1,048 tons to 1,112 tons, the increase in GLD's gold bar holdings at the Bank of England, which is 24 tons, represented 37.7% of this total increase in GLD gold holdings. Now, note that by the end of June, according to the 10Q, the GLD Trust still held 40 tons of gold at the Bank of England. Now, there's more to this than meets the eye, like 150 tons worth. Importantly, the GLD annual report states that all GLD gold should be held in the custodian's vaults, and that if any gold is held with a sub-custodian, HSBC needs to use commercially reasonable efforts to transport that gold from the sub-custodian's vaults to the custodian's vaults. And that's to quote the 2019 GLD annual report 10K, page 15. Now, the custodian will hold all of the trust gold in its own vault premises, except when the gold has been allocated in the vault of a sub-custodian. And in such cases, the custodian has agreed that it will use commercially reasonable efforts promptly to transport the gold from the sub-custodian's vault to the custodian's vault at the custodian's cost and risk. Now, gold logistics security carriers Brinks, the Markle, Amit, and Loomis are on record at the end of May confirming in a London Bullion Market Association LBMA webinar that they were all active over April and May, moving large quantities of physical gold. So why is GLD still holding gold at the Bank of England for over 2 months? Could it be continually tapping gold at the Bank of England while also transferring it out? Huh? Consider the possibility that HSBC has been transferring gold bars out of the Bank of England vaults to the HSBC London vaults during April, May, and June. In that case, GLD would be sourcing a lot more gold from the Bank of England vaulted stocks that even the figures mentioned in the SEC quarterly filings would suggest. What you talking about, Willis? Here we go. The Q1 filing in a section called Subsequent Events says that the Spider Gold Trust started holding gold at the Bank of England on the 15th of April, and that the maximum amount of gold GLD held at the Bank of England was on 27th of April when it held 45.91 tons. Now, the Q2 filing says that during the second quarter period, GLD held gold at the Bank of England that the maximum amount of GLD held at the Bank of England was on May the 21st when it held 70 tones at the Bank of England, and that on June the 30th, GLD held 40 tones of gold at the Bank of England. Note that all of these statements are just referring to total quantities of gold as of various dates, and do not say anything about whether the statements refer to the same pile of gold bars at all times. Did you catch that? All right, we're looking like some sleight of hand going on up in here. Now, based on GLD daily gold holding changes, we know that between April 27th and May 21st, 64 tons of gold was added to GLD. Between May 21st and June 30th, another 66.58 tons of gold was added to GLD. Now, consider this. If of the 45.91 tons of GLD gold at the Bank of England on April 27th, HSBC had, after 27th of April, transferred 40 tons of this gold out of the Bank of England vaults and to the HSBC vault, while adding another 64 tons of gold to GLD from gold at the Bank of England between April 27th and May 21st, then it would, by May the 21st, still have 70 tons at the Bank of England, but also 40 tons in its own vaults that had been sourced from the Bank of England. Then, if after the 21st of May, HSBC had transferred 70 tons of gold out of the Bank of England's vaults and to the HSBC vault, while adding another 40 tons of gold to GLD at the Bank of England between May 21st and June 30th, then it would, by June the 30th, still have 40 tons at the Bank of England, but also 110 tons in its own vaults that had been sourced from the Bank of England. This would give GLD a grand total of 150 tons of gold that it had sourced at the Bank of England. You see, there's a reason why certain people went into accounting. Because you can really learn to do some jujitsu with that accounting. You know, can you imagine that? I like to see my gold. You don't own any gold. The trust owns the gold. Okay, I like to convert my shares into gold. Unfortunately, that won't be possible. Okay, can I at least visit the vault? Absolutely not. The location of the vault is top secret. It never ceases to amaze me. Never. Never, 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 never. So, what's really going on? Given that GLD is holding gold bars in its vault to the Bank of England, this means, as mentioned above, that GLD is sourcing gold from gold stockpiles that are ultimately from borrowed central bank gold to the Bank of England. This is so because while HSBC is allocating gold to the Spider Gold Trust from commercial bank gold accounts at the Bank of England, commercial banks, LBMA banks, only hold gold accounts at the Bank of England specifically so that they can engage in gold lending with central banks. The commercial banks hold gold at the Bank of England that is either borrowed from central banks' gold holdings or gold that is going back to repay gold loans that central bank customers at the bank. So, this is very, 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 very interesting, to say the least. The average man on the street has no idea what's going on inside of these banks. I guess the old saying is correct. The easiest way to rob a bank is to own one, right? Man, it never ceases to amaze me what they will do with the trickeration and moving stuff around. And that goes back to the old adage, too. If you don't hold your gold, then you don't own your gold. So if you're speaking from stacking perspective only, stackers know they got to hold their gold if they want to own their gold. But from a trading perspective, I could give a darn. I don't care who's holding what where. I don't care. I just want to be able to make money off the price. Is GOD going up? Great. I want to be long. Is it going down? Great. I want to short it. It's just that simple. As far as all this other stuff, this is for you stackers. This is a lesson for you guys. For those of you who don't hold your stuff, but you let a bank or some other person hold your stuff. Now I get it. I get it. I get it. Because the gold has to be held somewhere. But here's a good one though. Why haven't there been an audit of Fort Knox? Is it because there's no gold in Fort Knox? Just something to think about, man. This kind of stuff really makes you just, question things as to what's really going on. Like, since we're talking about accounting, gymnastics, okay? Whoa. Hold on. Wait, did I just see what I saw? The cash Dow is down 108 points while the futures is up 10 points? That can't be right. Something is not right. Hold on. Something weird is happening, and I need to figure it out. Give me just a second, and we're going to work through this. Okay, I see what happened. I see what happened. Okay, I get it. I get it now. All right. Never mind. I see what is happening up in here. Okay. Let me do something right quick. Because Houston, we have a problem. So let's see what's going on. All right, yep. Ever since we've been having these storms, man, internet's been bugging. Let's see here. Bear with me just for a second, fam. I need to reset some stuff here on my computer. I know not why, just sometimes things like to go haywire when you're live. All right, while that's rebooting, how about this? Amazon hires 3,500 white-collar workers just days after cutting blue-collar delivery jobs. There you go. Being a company man has no future. Weeks after Amazon reported blowout second quarter results, including massive beats on the top line and double-digit revenue growth year over year, supported by an explosion of online shopping and the virus pandemic, the e-commerce giant is set to expand physical offices and add thousands of white-collar jobs across the country, according to a new report in the Wall Street Journal. The news of the hiring spree comes less than a week after the company announced plans to cut ties with small contract delivery firms across the country, costing 1,200 delivery drivers their jobs. So again, you think they care about the little man? They think not. They cut 1,200 delivery job people so they could employ some white collar people. How does that even make sense? You're cutting 1,200 to hire 3,500. Something doesn't feel right about that. And as all big banks talk about reducing their physical footprint, Amazon is following Facebook and expanding it into even more offices. The e-commerce giant is looking into office space in New York, Phoenix, San Diego, Denver, Detroit, and Dallas. The hiring wave is expected to add nearly 3,500 jobs to Amazon's headcount across all 6 cities, along with more than 2,000 of them heading for the former Lord and Taylor building in Midtown Manhattan, also known as the consolation prize Bezos gave to New York City after deciding that he'd had enough of AOC's nonsense and scrapped his plans for an headquarters part 2 in the city. Now, sources told the Journal that Amazon purchased the Lord and Taylor building for more than $1 billion. Now, Amazon, like many other retailers, was blindsided by the surge in online orders during the virus pandemic and is now expanding rapidly to make sure logistical bottlenecks and supply chain shortages don't happen again as millions of Americans embrace remote work and shopping online. That's nonsense. You're gonna tell me this big mega online company didn't know about that and didn't have any contingencies for that? Whatever. What company you know starts off planning to fail? None of them. Many of the new corporate jobs will include engineering and product management positions, as well as others in Amazon Web Services, the Alexa virtual assistant team, advertising, and Amazon Fresh. Vice President of Workforce Development, Arden Williams, told the Journal all the jobs being added are new jobs, not replacing old jobs. Now, the pandemic has entirely reshaped how Americans consume. Amazon understands the evolving situation and is significantly scalping up its back end so that it can handle the influx of future orders without hiccups. Well, again, that's assuming that people will still be able to afford your products. I don't know about you guys, if you've been paying attention or not, but a lot of things on Amazon has definitely been marked way up. The premiums on a lot of goods are marked way up. And this is falling on the back of all of that. USPS just filed a patent for a blockchain-based secure voting system. Yep. How is that even possible? I have no idea. But now you got the Postal Service getting in on the blockchain. I tried to warn y'all back in 2016 that this was going to happen. And what do we see going on right now? Well, it's happening. It looks like the United States Postal Office is getting the business of voting. Now, it has recently been unearthed that the USPS filed for a patent on February the 7th of this year for a secure voting system that uses a blockchain access layer. Obviously, this could be one of the strongest signals of a welcome adaptation to blockchain by the U.S. government since blockchain was thrust on the map by Bitcoin. A voting system can use the security of blockchain and the mail to provide reliable voting systems. But wait, hold up, wait a minute. Isn't this the same federal government that said that blockchain and crypto was a threat to the U.S. government? Didn't they say that only criminals use the blockchain? So is it not befitting that the U.S., being the world's greatest criminal, is now adopting and using blockchain? Since you want to go there, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is what's up, man. The U.S. Postal Service is saying we're throwing our hat in the ring and we're going to start using this blockchain. I told you they were going to make their own blockchain. I told you. They're making their own blockchain, and they're going to make it almost impossible for you to use anything else once they get it going. All right? They're not going to ban the existing stuff that's already here. They're just going to make it very difficult for you to operate. I told you, don't ever underestimate the power of the U.S. federal government to take complete and utter control of your life. Don't ever underestimate that. They're serious about doing that. They have been doing it, and they will do it. So never sleep on what they can and cannot and will not do, because they will. All right, so we'll do part 2 tomorrow on some stuff. And yeah, we'll do part 2 tomorrow. It's getting real interesting up in here, people. I gotta tell you, it's getting really interesting up in here. I do not know what's going on. All right, I think I'm going to have to shut down and reboot my computer because I'm just having some real problems over here today. All right, with that being said, y'all know what it is, man. PulseWaveTrading.com. Come break some bread with us, man. You need to create a new income stream. All right, because as you see here, jobs are not guaranteed, man. If you have one now, it's not guaranteed that you're going to have one tomorrow. So regardless of all of that, you need to increase your financial situation by learning how to navigate these markets. PulseWaveTrading.com. And remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And I am out. Purse. See y'all in the trading room.